And hello. Welcome to the Absolute Football Podcast on this. We hope you've had a fantastic bank holiday weekend, unless you're watching this back. And then I still hope you had a bank holiday weekend. It was lovely, but it might be a little while ago. We're here, of course. There's more football going on. It's getting towards the end of the season. It is crunch time. So I've brought two superb analysts with me to talk about the crunch time. To my left, Charlotte, how are you? And how is your
I'm going to say who's that because it's definitely not me. But yeah, I'm really good, thank you. I just want to apologise to the people that have been tuning in for the last so many weeks because I bet me sick of my face. It's been me, hasn't it? Quite a lot recently, so I do apologise.
You are ever present. You are the Jeff Stelling on the board. It can't be done without you. Can't be done without you. And bank holiday, Charlotte, very good. Enjoyed it. 3 days with fun, sun.
Yeah, it's been really good, actually. Yeah, really good. I didn't go to the football match, the Rochdale game, because I was working, unfortunately. So obviously we pulled off a win. My kids have been keeping me on my toes. So it's been a crazy one. But yeah, all good. How's yours been?
Excellent. Yeah, not too bad. Sunshine's out. It's been nice. It's been nice to have a bit of a couple of days break. It's been an enjoyable one. First of quite a few bank holiday weekends, so getting used to it. I think barbecues come the next one. I'm definitely looking at barbecues for the next bank holiday weekend. That is for sure. And hello, thank you to everybody joining us in the chat. We've got Heather in the chat. Lovely to see you. Lisa is here as well, and Simon as well. Thank you for joining us too. Of course, it's not just me and Charlotte. It is the man himself, absolutely crabulous. Lucas is here. How are you, sir?
Good. Had a good weekend. Yeah, no, I'm good. Everything outside of football is good.
That's a good thing that you're here to talk about everything that's not football on the Absolute Not Football
film podcast.
Yeah, what do you want to talk about? Netflix? What's out? It is football. It is football, of course. It is massive. And we're going to try and keep you updated because obviously at the moment, while we are live, there's a huge game going on in the relegation clash in the Premier League. Leicester and Everton are battling it out as we go. At the moment, 0-0, because my phone wasn't pinged up with anything. So I want to start there because as we go through, it'd be interesting to see how we predict this one. So I'm going to ask you both for your predictions and we'll see live as we go through what we actually know about football as we go through it. So Charlotte, Leicester versus Everton. How have you got this one pegged down?
I'm going to go 2-1 Leicester.
2-1 Leicester. Trouble for
Sorry,
dice.
Kira.
Trouble for dice. Lucas, you?
I'm going to go the opposite. I'm going to go 2-1 Everton.
2-1 Everton. And I was thinking that as well. I was thinking 2-1 Everton, but just to make it entertaining, I'm going to go straight down the middle with the draw. I'm going to go for the 1-1 draw.
Boring.
1-1 draw.
You're not siding with us.
It could be. Maybe a double Desmond, 4 or 1 or all hell's going to break loose.
Yeah, exactly.
We'll be updating you every 2 seconds. We won't get to anything else. It'll just be Leicester Everton. So we'll see. We'll see as it is. Lisa in the chat's gone for 2-1 to Everton as well. So back in Lucas with his prediction there. We shall see. So relegation wise, we'll start there. Another busy weekend in terms of relegation. Some teams doing some strange things, some teams doing some usual things. But as we stuck on the thumbnail, we'll start with Southampton, who are looking like things are getting worse and worse and worse and worse. My question to you is, following the loss to Newcastle, having led as well, surprisingly led, let's be honest. I don't think any of us had that down to go any other way. Is it over, Shah? Is it over for Southampton in your head?
I reckon so. My predictions have changed quite over the last few weeks. I've always had Southampton down there, though, and they were one of my predictions at the start of the season. But it's just not looking good for them, is it? It's just not going well at all for Southampton. And yeah, they just run away down, aren't they? I don't see any comeback whatsoever for Southampton, unfortunately.
They seem to have had like moments in games and then just completely say they got ahead against Newcastle, which would be unexpected. They had the result against, draw against Arsenal. But from their perspective, at 3-1 should have seen that one through. The Bournemouth one was massive last week. I thought Bournemouth, that was the one for me. They had to get 3 points and it did not happen. The same for you, Lucas. You think Southampton are doomed, or is there a miraculous recovery?
No, I think at this point, in the season when you go 1-0 up and then lose. What was it, 4-1 in the end? 3-1.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's not. Yeah, they're finished. I kind of yeah. I think ever since they gave the assistant manager the job. I think was a bit of a risk. I mean, the person they hired before that was a huge risk, but I think after that, their last 2 managerial appointments, considering that they needed to survive, have not really showed me that they're really doing everything in their power to survive. So I think they've had a good run, but yeah, I think Southampton are gone. And I think they'll be in the championship for a while as well.
Yeah, it really worries me as well, because I don't know if it's something financially as well. That's why they can't really afford to bring in any like different appointments, because it's or manager kind of thing. I don't know what's going on behind closed doors at all, and I don't know if they're struggling as a club, and that's why obviously they're struggling on the pitch as well. It's quite sad to see it, considering like what they had academy wise Southampton back in the day, and they just don't seem to be spending the money, do they? If they've got any money, that is.
They do seem to be. I think the managerial point has been so frustrating for them, because they were also around that time that Jones went. They're looking at Wolves get Lopetegui. They're looking at Dyche going at Everton. They're looking at these names, and then
Xavi Gracia for Leeds.
Xavi Gracia for Leeds. People that have got have got that experience behind them that you could see they could do something. Because I think they had one good game under the assistant, and they all ran to him and gave him a hug, and they were like, "That's our guy." In he goes. And it's gonna cost them. They need
like the cheap option all the time, isn't it?
Yeah,
the cheap short-term option. I mean, going back to Hasenhüttl, right at the start of the season, I think it just reached the end of that cycle with the players not listening or getting that same message over and over again. But the decision that they took to move him didn't really have a plan in place to do anything else. And now look where they are. You wonder with Hasenhüttl, do you think with Hasenhüttl was still there, they'd be in a better position?
Yeah, I think so. I think he kind of, hindsight's a wonderful thing. I think he deserved to be sacked considering how they were playing. But given the position they're in now, he's probably still the best one to have got them out of it compared to the managers afterwards. So yeah, he's a good manager. He hasn't moved on anywhere, has he, Hasenhüttl?
I don't think so. Long holiday for Hasenhüttl. I think there'll be some. I imagine he'll be linked in the summer.
Yeah, I think we'll see him again.
I think he'll be back. And so we'll turn to the chat for a minute. Of course, in that game, Wally Walcott scored an own goal this time. Chris Fitton, he was the case. Heather, of course, of Bournemouth won't laugh because it's not a rivalry. She says that they're heading further down so that they can reignite their real rivalry with Portsmouth. Yes, they've missed that. Portsmouth.
So they have spent actually, Southampton. I thought they'd be worse off. Of every team here in the last 5 years, every team in the Premier League, they're number 12 for net transfer spend in the last 5 years. So they're a lot higher than I thought. Leeds are below them, Brentford are below them, Forest are below them, Everton are below them, Palace. I mean, it's the teams that are in that fight. Brighton are like 18th. Probably not surprised there considering the players they found. But yeah, so they've been spending money, Southampton.
I just don't think they've recouped as well as they used to. Saints always used to, with those academies, they used to get those big names. I think they've followed that same model, but normally it's off the back of like a Gareth Bale transfer fee in, or, even like Luke Shaw, going back to Morgan Schneiderlin, those sort of players.
They haven't produced
I can't remember. No, they've since Mane and Van Dijk went, I can't remember any big name kind of making it. It was always Saints to Tottenham was always the joke, and then Saints to Liverpool.
Saints to Liverpool.
Yeah.
Even
we nabbed a few players, Oxlade-Chamberlain, Theo Walcott. They've always been known for their youth thing, and it's dropped off. And maybe that's the reason why. That was what they were. Their model was based on, was producing top talent, selling them to the bigger clubs, reinvesting it. And the last decade or so, it looks like it's completely, last 5 years, I'd say, it's completely fallen away. Because have they got any youth players in the first team from their? None, right?
No, I think most of the youth players they got on loan. They bought, didn't they? Like, what's his name? He plays midfielder. Lavia. They bought in from City.
Yeah,
he was a City youngster.
Salisu they bought.
Salisu was a youngster. They've got another one that's in that. I'd say Bella Kotchap they bought. Even Livramento, who they've missed this season.
Yeah. Oh my god, yeah.
They massively missed him this season. But no, I can't think of any. Ward-Prowse, who's now not really a youngster, is he? Is
Ward-Prowse a Southampton youth player?
I think.
Or did they sign him?
Player. I think he's a youth player. He's
been there. He's been there a long time, but I feel like they did sign him from somewhere.
Maybe. He's heavy Mr. Southampton, so
he is Mr. Southampton. He's from Portsmouth, but he's Mr. whole career Southampton. So he's the only one. He's what 28.
He's 28, and maybe not much longer. With them going down, you would imagine. I mean, as Chris says, just to show how bad they are, they're bottom of the form guide, just below Chelsea. So if you're below Chelsea in the form guide,
you're screwed.
Things are not going.
Everything's kind of against them, the patterns there, and I think we can all agree they're gone.
Yeah,
they're gone.
I think they're gone. I would agree. Just on the flip of that game, of course, Newcastle being involved as well, really picked up also last month. Absolutely, say Isak and Wilson seem to have that kind of link. To say Willock and Joel Linton in midfield, they're not just scoring goals; they're scoring well put together goals as well. I mean, for me, I think we're all looking at it going, are they going to drop out of this Champions? They were the ones you're thinking, could they drop off? I think they're as good as they are. I don't know what you think. Yeah. I think they're done.
Yeah, completely agree.
Which means trouble for a while. It is. I think it has. Which means trouble come the summer.
I know it's only the start of the spending, isn't it? Just think what we can do. But then again, money's not everything. Look at Chelsea.
Yeah,
it's true. Newcastle have done well so far. They haven't gone mad like we thought we have. It's been kind of well strategized, and they've picked some good signings. You just think, what's the next wave that's coming in? So,
it's kind of exciting, though. I know it's a problem for us. Considering they're going to be directly competing with us in terms of league position, I'd say, and trophies. I mean, why not?
Yeah.
But I'm kind of intrigued to see who they buy, because they've not followed what Man City did. They've almost jumped in 5 years in Man City's project after they got bought and gone, well, let's forget about the Robinhos and all of that Man City did, and then go straight to when they started buying
Benjani and people like that.
Oh God, yeah, Joe.
Joe.
Who was the defender from Bayern Munich as well? Demichelis, like these guys were just Jerome Boateng was there. People forget, like they signed some howlers. It was just names, but they almost skipped that and they went, right, let's get on Nasri Adebayor, not Bernardo, David Silva, that kind of thing, company. Let's go straight to that. And Bruno Guimaraes is, for me, one of the best midfielders in the Premier League. So if they build on that, plus they can spend more, they could probably just go, well, let's just get 2 players, but 2 players worth 60, 70 million who are just perfect for them. And then they're like, we've got some youth players to bring in, but let's just get 2 worldies. That might be the way that they do it. And I mean, there's Jude Bellingham is the name. I think that they can put themselves in that hat now.
That would be a stamp, wouldn't it? Bellingham would be a huge statement.
Why wouldn't he go there?
Exactly.
Why? I don't see any negative. I only see positives for Newcastle. I think Newcastle, if he comes to the Premier League, I think next to if it's not Man City, Newcastle is the best option.
Yeah.
God, Bellingham and Guimaraes really would be.
I'm going to say that'd be quality.
Be something else. Be something else.
And do what Chelsea did.
Yeah, and he said, "Be one who says, well, do what Chelsea did." Yeah, I think Chelsea is showing they're not the model. Chris as well. Can they avoid FFP like Chelsea? Well, again, I think they seem to be sort of set up. But and Quay says, got no youth set up for the last 30 years. Well, you'd imagine that they're building all kind of things with that club at the same time as just the transfers. That's something that we'll start to see more from as well. But Eddie Howe has shown the ability to improve the players that are there. I mean, Joe Linton. Willock, for example, Longstaff, Murphy. These are all kind of on the periphery that you'd think. Dan Burn, Fabian Schär.
Schär was awful before this season for them.
Yeah, it was terrible.
It's scary hours with Newcastle. We could be looking at literally. It's another man. We could be looking at another Man City like right before our eyes. It's just. It's not going to be under Howe, but if they set everything up in place, which is what Man City did, and then they go and get whoever it is going to be their Pep, it could be a problem.
It could be trouble. And so it is on the one aspect when you're not looking at it from your own individual's club's perspective, thinking, another one up there. It's exciting. It is. It's a new name in the mix. It's something as that fan base do deserve something.
Remember, they wanted Emery as well, and he's come to the Premier League, proved he can do it at a different club in the Premier League with Villa. But then why would you leave Villa? Because Villa have got money. It's not like Villa haven't got money. Like they're a deceptively very rich club. Like people don't look at them as a rich club. I don't know. I think it's just the claret and blue. There's something about the claret and blue. Like, it's not prestigious. I don't know what it is. But
it doesn't.
It doesn't just come off as a prestigious like money. But Villa have got money, and if they get, why would Emery leave? But that's who they wanted. So I can see them going. Is he the guy potentially to take them to that next level?
Maybe at some stage Emery does, because Villa have got a ceiling, haven't they? There's a ceiling to despite the money that where they're going to get to, where Newcastle broke in that ceiling. I
did hear an interview as well with Jose Mourinho, and he was very good friends with, was it Bobby Robson? He was manager there, and he said he'd always like to go to Newcastle because they were really good friends. So it wouldn't surprise me as well if Mourinho went there for that.
Could you see?
I could definitely see that.
Yeah,
that would be tasty, wouldn't it? That would be tasty. And huge news coming in. Breaking news. Absolute relegation news is coming in. Dominic Calvert-Lewin.
I told you, as soon as I saw him on the score sheet, otherwise I would have gone Leicester easily. But as soon as I saw him on the lineup, I was like, yeah, I'm going Everton now.
There's still hope. I went 2-1 Leicester.
That's the thing, yeah.
We're still in business. We're all still in business.
I do think he's an amazing striker, but I think for Everton, he's the difference between them mid-table and relegation.
Yeah, he's huge. And it's just a fit Calvert-Lewin over a season for them is enough to drag them out of it.
It's so many more points for them.
He's just made of glass, though, isn't he? That's the problem, because he would be quality for him.
Yeah.
Yeah, he so is. And so you wouldn't put it past him to go off in the second half. That's the rest we see of him for the season. That could be it. But let's say so far, Kira is having a party. Whether she still will be in 80 odd minutes, we will see. But so far, things are good for Everton. As Craig says here, Calvert-Lewin gets goals but has bad injuries. Just like Wilson's a reasonable comparison as well. Both of them struggled injury-wise, and it has hampered them, particularly from an England perspective as well, to have them in there. It's just so important. So Everton doing okay. Southampton looking in trouble. Another side, depending on how things go tonight, whatever happens tonight, Nottingham Forest will be dropping into the relegation zone. They had a very good result last week against Brighton. I mean, beating Brighton was a bit of a surprise, but again, another one that took the lead at the weekend against Brentford. Probably another one nobody had on their coupon for Nottingham Forest to be winning either, but they lost it through as well. So they lost Danilo to injury and they went down to 10 men. How are we feeling about Forest and their survival chances? We'll come to you first, Shah.
I had him dead and buried, and they keep pulling off these weird results, but I just think these injuries are going to affect him. Obviously, is it Nico Williams? He went off and he's got a broken jaw, hasn't he, as well? So I think that'll obviously affect them. But then again, we've got like 97 players. So they're fine, aren't they, in that aspect? But it's a weird one with Forest.
They're an up and down, aren't they? They'll get a win out of nowhere, and then they'll get a loss, and you think no, and then they'll get a win, and you get a. There's quality. There's some quality in that team. There is some quality in that team. If it's
I
enough
like Steve Cooper as well. I do like the manager, Steve Cooper. It is Steve Cooper, isn't it?
Steve, he seems like a normal bloke, doesn't he?
I do, yeah.
he's a bloke down the pub kind of bloke.
Yeah, I really like him, but I really don't know. It's a weird one because I've changed my predictions so many times these last few weeks because you get hope for one team, you're like, oh yeah, they'll get out of it, and then another one drops in, and I cannot call it with Forest. Cannot call it.
No, I can't call it either. And so going back to the chat, we've got Bezza6 joined us today. How are we good? How are we doing? We're doing very well. Thank you for joining us today. And Chris joins us with Forest are better than Leeds, though. I think
agreed.
I agree. I think
so, yeah.
Defensively, anybody's better than Leeds.
It's their home form, Forest. That's why I have Leeds just over Forest, just slightly, because Forest at home are actually quite good. They're 12th or 13th in the home form, and they got a lot of home games left. Tough opposition, but winning relegation battle at home with a home crowd, considering how they've been doing, I have them just over Leeds with Everton surviving. So but you just don't know. But Leeds are another one that look awful, right? Just like Leeds, you look at Leeds and like, who's going to lose to this team? Like,
they just concede so many goals. I mean, no one's conceded more than Leeds defensively, and the goals that they're conceding. So we'll move on to Bournemouth.
Embarrassing,
Melié's making at least 2 ridiculous mistakes a game at the minute. You just cannot be, and that's before you even get to the defence as well. Leeds look defensively absolutely shambolic.
Even up front, they're missing some really easy chances. But it does happen when you're at the bottom. Yeah, honestly, when you're at the bottom, the luck is against you. But that Patrick Bamford one the other day, that was atrocious.
That's the summer highlight, isn't it? When they go down by a point on the last day. That's 2 points in the bag there.
I mean, he's got 2 goals for them this season in the Prem.
Yeah,
and it's goals that keep you up. It's not that you can have dodgy defenders, but goals keep you up. So any team has a solid goal scorer who gets promoted. Look at Brentford, who else came up recently that had a solid, Fulham with Mitrovic, things like that. Yeah. It's the difference. It's always a difference. And none of these teams have got amazing defenders, but they've got a solid goal scorer. Just carries your team a bit, doesn't it?
Exactly, a natural in front of goal. And that's why I look at it when I look at Forest versus Leeds. I think Brennan Johnson's someone who can score you a goal in a tight game and a difference. And Leeds haven't quite got that. But I mean, I like players I think Nondo's a very good player that they got there. Rodrigo can do. But can you rely on them in that big moment? I suppose we'll see. But yeah, I mean, terrible result for them. 4-1 at Bournemouth. Who have been on an absolute tear at times.
You can't concede 4 to another team you're fighting relegation with, at this point in the season. That's really bad psychologically, because it's shit, they're their team right next to us in the table, and we've just conceded 4 to them. We are screwed.
No, you can't.
I don't know. I do think Leeds have got the best chance of coming straight back up, though.
I would agree.
A lot of good young players.
Yeah, they've got something that could come back through. And will Leeds go down? Well, we'll see, because there's more breaking news coming out of the game. It's level. It is level. We heard it in the chat. I was just waiting for the official comment.
I'm assuming.
I mean, this is we're having to presume there's no VAR or anything. We're not that advanced. These could get wiped off in a moment. But it's Kaglar Soyuncu. If you remember, we spoke about him last week. The man on a pre-contract with Atletico Madrid. God. Has come and equalised.
Yeah, I want to change my answer. If you let him score against you, you might have to get relegated.
You're doomed.
You're doomed. Yeah,
you are in trouble.
5-1
Even
Leicester.
Southampton are not bad.
Soyuncu. Oh God.
See, we've had every week with all these games changing our predictions. We've never had a mid-podcast. Our predictions changing so drastically.
And Wout Fire's got the assist. Oh, okay, Everton are screwed. Everton are gone.
The world's going to end.
Everton are gone. That's literally, that's world ending.
When centre-backs combine.
Arguably the 2 worst in the league.
That is a shocker. My word, 1-1. So we're all still in the game. We're all still in the game. I now need nothing to happen for the rest of the game, unless we go to 2-2s or 4-4s. But it is 1-1, so we will see. But yeah, just going back to Bournemouth Leeds. I mean, Bournemouth have just been on such a tear. I mean, obviously they had a disappointing result with West Ham the other week, but they've been doing enough. I mean, the win at Southampton. They're almost above Chelsea. They're just behind Chelsea.
I love it. I love it.
Absolutely fantastic.
How do we get Chelsea in the relegation battle here? Who do we need to just win all their games?
I think, isn't it? It's 9
Leicester,
points,
right?
or something.
I think
isn't
they
it?
said
I
Leicester
think
have to win all their games, and so West Ham Wolves are about 1 or 2 away, and then Leicester have to win all their games. But then even then. There's too many teams on. There's too many teams, too many on 30, yeah. And they have to play each other.
I mean, it'd be immense.
A point deduction.
FFP. FFP points deduction.
Please. Yeah. 15 points, they're relegated.
Yeah, that's it. Todd Bowley doesn't know how to fill the forms in. It's all very different over here. It's trouble. That'd be great, wouldn't it? I mean, Chelsea going down would be like the Leicester title win in reverse.
It would.
Yeah. The neutrals favourite.
But then having Luton, if obviously Luton end up coming up, imagine Luton coming up and then Chelsea in the Championship.
Chelsea going down, yeah. With all those long-term contracts, players, they'll all be on loan next season.
They'll be finished. Yeah, exactly.
They'll all be on loan next season. No one will have some of that. So Heather says that they are same points, just goal difference with Chelsea. And on Bournemouth, O'Neill comes across a really good young manager, puts Parker to shame for his comment after Liverpool defeat. Yeah, I mean, interestingly enough, we spoke with Heather this week, and very interesting. We've got a all about Bournemouth episode that's coming out next week. So do keep your eyes open for that. We'll go into Bournemouth in a lot of detail. But what do you take of O'Neill, Lucas? Because I mean, he's kind of come in from nowhere internally within the club, and he's done a pretty good job.
He's done a job. He's got them scoring goals when it matters. So they've scored a lot of goals this side of the year. I think they're up there with the most goals scored so far. Way more than a team in their position. So he's done exactly what's required. They made the right choice. I know there was some like issues with Parker off the pitch, which is why he got sacked. But I don't think he had enough in the tank anyway to keep them up. But yeah, they've done the right job, and then I think next season we'll see. But yeah, I think Bournemouth they're scoring goals, which is what you need at this point in the season. So, any game now, you're like Bournemouth could get 2 or more goals here because it's just going their way. So he's done a great job.
He certainly has. And so Bournemouth can now look forward to surely. I mean, they look safe. Another that looks safe as well is Crystal Palace. Super Roy Hodgson has just absolutely turned it on. I mean, another stunning game with a lot of goals at the weekend. 4-3 against West Ham in the lunchtime kickoff. And Roy Hodgson has now won more games this season than Frank Lampard, Everton and Chelsea combined. He's had like 6, and Lampard's had 21.
Lampard is an absolute sham.
It's
what did we expect, though? It's like you've sacked him. Everton sacked him. Like, what do you expect?
He doesn't have it. I'm sorry. He really doesn't have it. No. As a coach, he's not it. No,
not at all. And I mean, Hodgson is just. I think us not wanting Hodgson was more just that he's just earned his retirement. The man had a phenomenal career. What's he doing to himself? Palace at that point were in real trouble, and he just galvanised them. Because Palace, remember before that, I think it was 3 games where they had 1 shot on target. They couldn't attack to save their lives. They were a mess. And then all of a sudden they've gone free flowing. He's getting the best out of some of these young players again. They've all responded to him, and they're entertaining again. Palace under Vieira were turgid to watch. It was, you could see, I think we all agreed that the Vieira sacking was a harsh one and that they were taking them somewhere. Yeah. But
he was trying to play a system, wasn't he, at the expense of. Whereas Roy Hodgson is pretty much I'll just get you to play in the best position that you do. Whereas Vieira had them playing good football as a team, but the players just weren't good enough to do it. Which you kind of would give them time. If you're Palace, if you think Vieira is not going to get you relegated, you stick with it, which is why it's so weird. Because I don't think he would have got there. Even in the way they were, he's better than the teams that are going down. So that's what was a little bit disappointing, because it's like he's clearly trying to do something. You just need to give him time. As long as you're not going to get relegated, just stick with it.
Yeah, because you've still got the same issue, because Hodgson isn't going to stay there long term. So you've then got to pick somebody else to do the same thing, and potentially you get yourself back in that kind of. I suppose it gets them out of it for this season, but you're just kind of pushing the problem away, aren't you? Rather than solving it and trying to build a long-term project. But I mean, another great game, 4-3. There were defensive mistakes all over the place in that one as well as some horrific defending. We always get some of that this time of season when stuff's on the back foot. But West Ham aren't out of it either. West Ham, they get a result and you think they are, and then then you look at the table and you go, not so much. I think they've still got too much quality and they'll be fine. But 1 more win, maybe 4 points.
Yeah, I think that'd be fine. I'm curious to see if they win. I think they win the Conference League, to be honest.
I think they do,
hilarious. Maybe not, actually, because that's another London team getting a European trophy before us. Yeah, so maybe not. But it'd be funny them winning it before Spurs. That would be funny.
That would be great.
West Ham getting a trophy before Spurs is hilarious.
That would be epic. I think they may well do that. I think there's not a lot in the UEFA Conference League. I think if West Ham play what they could play. West Ham, I think we still think of their Palace, but still, I think still 1-1 Leicester Everton at the moment. We'll see how that progresses. So I think relegation wise, I think we've pretty much done well, wrapped it up. We've been nice so far to Lucas to not talk about the other end of the table. We've kept it further south, but we are going up north because Manchester City played on Sunday. They played against Fulham. and they did what Manchester City do in the title race, and they won. They picked up a victory 2-1. I mean, we'll come back to the Arsenal game in a minute, Lucas, but just to get your picture, obviously, since we've last seen you, is it done and dusted in your mind? Where are you sat on this? Is hope still there, or is all hope distinguished?
See, I think Man City have got a few points dropped in them still. The way that they look like the Man City from the beginning of the season against Fulham, I was shocked because in that situation when you win takes you to the top of the table, I was expecting them to completely steamroll Fulham, and then you saw Haaland score in the first 4 minutes, and I was like, oh god, here we go, 6-0. And then Fulham got back into it, and then Man City just looked. I mean, Fulham didn't look like scoring after that goal. That was the only thing. And then it's only a matter of time. But they scored pretty much like a great strike from Alvarez. Outside of that,
great finish,
there was a few missed chances, to be honest, from a few of the players. So they looked a bit shaky. And I think the Fulham equalizer kind of threw them off. So I think Man City have, they can still drop points. The problem is we are shocking at the moment. And I look at our fixtures and I'm like, anyhow, we do not beat Chelsea in Lampard tomorrow. I swear to God. Oh my God. Yeah, that's just like, but
you know it'll be the one game he puts on a master. He'll have read a book last night.
If we lose to Frank Lampard, I don't even want to put that energy out there, because at home to Frank Lampard in a title race, that's bad. But yeah, I think Chris is spot on. I think there's still some shaky, Man City have looked great recently, but this season is still, for me, it's the worst Man City side I've seen since Pep's been in charge. Maybe maybe not that first year, but most people don't really count that one anyway. But yeah, post that first year where Pep was in charge, this is probably the worst I've seen them. Even with Haaland scoring all these goals, but just as a unit, it's not quite there yet. So I think they can still drop points. The problem is I don't know when our next win comes. Where we're awful. And we've got, Newcastle away, Brighton, Chelsea, and Forest away. And, I just said that before. If Forest need points in that game, are we really going to go up to Forest the way we're playing, defeated? And is that going to be, So, and then Wolves at home in the last game of the season. The only one I can confidently say we're going to win of our remaining games, to be honest. So yeah, I think it is. It's not impossible, but I think it is done. I think we basically conceded defeat after Southampton. I thought it was a bit all over the place after West Ham. I think the West Ham draw kind of was just like, we're going to let City take over. And then Southampton, it was like, what is going on? And then we turned up at City like we'd already lost the league, and we were pathetic in that. And I just think their heads are gone. Some of them are tired. The young players, the mentality is not quite there yet. A few of them letting us down at key moments, especially some of the senior players. This whole young squad, I get it, but it's not an excuse when Zinchenko and Jesus, who were the supposed winners from Man City, have been our two worst players in the last 3-4 games when it's mattered. So again, you can't use the young players' excuse because the senior ones are letting us down too. Thomas Partey has been awful. Xhaka has dropped off a bit, but Thomas Partey, Zinchenko, Gabriel Jesus have been terrible. And we don't have a manager who's got a plan B and doesn't know how to change it. Trossard was one of our best players and has just been dropped. When you're in a title race, you play players who are in form. When players aren't in form and you're in a title race, you drop them. These are things experienced managers would know. It's not a massive dig out there, but I think everyone can see it's why is Saka still starting games when he's awful at the moment? Just drop him. You have Reece Nelson and Ketia. Trossard, you have Trossard on the bench, who is he was our player of the month in March. And since then has not started a game. How does that work? That's just pure favoritism and, not going out your comfort zone. But yeah, I think it's done. That was a long answer to your question, but I think I have no confidence. Yeah,
it was quite a loaded question to what was a simple question. And of course, we will come back to Arsenal because absolute relegation news. It is a Vardy party, a Jamie Vardy party. It's 2-1 to Leicester.
No, it needs to stay like that.
45-year-old Jamie Vardy scoring, and so you're true.
And so you're true. Vardy's going to go on one of those runs, and he's going to score in every game now to the end of the season. What a massive goal that is as Leicester lead. Wow, let's turn that round quite a bit. But yeah, back to Arsenal. I mean, yeah, looking at it from the outside, it was the West Ham one to me that made me think Liverpool weren't going to happen. but the West Ham one particularly being ahead, and you thought, okay, this is now a different mentality. There's a different feel amongst those players, and obviously then Southampton followed after, and nobody then thought going to the Etihad really that Arsenal were going to do the job with what we saw prior to those games. But I don't know what you think, Shah, but how do you think the season, if it carries on the way it is with Arsenal's form, with City's form, you'd expect the gap to get bigger, not shorter, that we wouldn't be in the title races. How does that then kind of position it if this title race then becomes 5, 8, 10 points at the end of the season and Man City win it as a canter? I mean, how would you take that if you were an Arsenal fan at that point?
It's a weird one because for me, obviously, if I was an Arsenal fan, I'd be gutted at the same time because I was that far ahead, in front. But then at the same time, I think it's been a great season for Arsenal to be in that position and the position they are. So it's a bit of a weird one for me because I'd be absolutely gutted. And even as a neutral now, if City do win it, I'd be absolutely gutted for Arsenal because I feel like they were in such a good position and I really wanted Arsenal to win it, to be honest. I'm sick of Manchester City. I'm sick of them. But yeah, it's a really, really tough one.
It is tough, isn't it? I mean, and say that annoying little T words arises on the horizon as well with Manchester City as well. So yeah, my switch towards Arsenal probably was a little bit earlier, thinking someone needs to put a bullet in this triple attack. And now I'm left with Benzema and Weghorst as my two hopes to stop this siege. with one maybe a better shot than the other slightly.
Weghorst,
of course. Weghorst at Wembley. It's made for it. It is tough because we know City do this, and there's no other team, I think, that at that point when Arsenal still had the games in hand, they still had the points on City, that you'd go, well, City are favourites. It's just that we all know it's that juggernaut. We know what happens. We know what happens when it comes to April. They just flip in and it becomes a different prospect. And you say, I mean, even they didn't play De Bruyne against Fulham, did he? Wasn't even in the squad. And was that sensational against Arsenal? And to be able to drop a player that was that immense, there's no other team in the Premier League that could do that. Exactly. Someone that was that critical, that played phenomenal for you at the weekend, drop him out, and then suddenly still kind of, okay, they weren't as brilliant as they should have been against Fulham, but they should have scored more as well. I think they missed some chances too. But to just remove that piece,
I think that and Brighton, that was probably the second hardest game remaining.
Yeah, definitely. I think, Chris says in the chat they've got Brighton and Brentford away, so both of those have got some potential. But
Brentford beat them earlier on in the season.
Yeah, only team beat Etihad this year,
just before the World Cup. Yeah,
that was when Tony could bet though.
Yeah,
that was when he could bet.
Yeah, true, yeah. Also, Brighton and Brentford, they could be on holiday by those games. And I don't think Brentford do the double over them. I don't think Pep allows that. I think Brighton is their toughest one, but Brentford, even now, they look. They're on holiday, like in a way. They're like Fulham. They're on holiday. So,
are any of them Arsenal fans who play for Brentford?
Maybe you could loan a couple.
Good point.
Late loanage. Yeah, I mean it's a City, and they've got, but in amongst those difficult games, I think they've got Leeds at home at the weekend, which again could be a cricket score if Leeds come with their defence. If Mellier's got those gloves on again, they'll be in right trouble. But I think this is it. I mean, so they're saying in the chat, Arsenal did well to challenge for the title. Wasn't top four the aim which they've already got. There's two ways of looking at it, isn't there? And I think when they come to the end of the season, taking it all into big consideration, then the question is what happens next. Because as we said, Newcastle, we think will get investment. So we expect that they could be a bigger challenge. And then you're looking at, who knows, everybody every season, though, I find this says, but Man United will be better, Chelsea will be better, Liverpool will be better. We all said that last season.
Yeah, we don't know.
Liverpool dropped off, Chelsea dropped off. There's always going to be a couple that do drop off that we just don't know who they're going to be. We just presume it's not going to be Manchester City. So everyone needs to raise the bar. I think that's what we kind of all feel. So worryingly, Haaland scored 50 goals in his debut season in the Premier League. He's now settled. Yeah. What happens next year?
I think you can safely say Chelsea are the ones I probably, if they get Poch, I think they will definitely be better.
Yeah.
Even though I don't think it's not significantly, but they're not going to be. I mean, Chelsea aren't going to be. There's no way they're not going to be 13th, 12th next season. No, that's not going to happen.
No chance.
And Liverpool, I mean, Liverpool could probably finish fifth, which again, I don't know if they significantly improve on that next season. So I don't know how much more Liverpool, but Chelsea for sure. United have never finished outside top six. After Bergie. So let's be honest, even if United do, there's only such room. And then you've got things like Villa, if they spend money, Anything can happen. There's a lot of Newcastle. Like there's a lot of Villa, Brighton are the
what if Brighton keep that squad and find another 3 gems as well in the summer? Like the scouting's phenomenal.
I think a lot with Manchester United as well with the takeover. Like depending what's going to happen there.
If that happens, then
and it needs to happen quick because the problem with them is going to be the timing of it as well. It's still faffing about with final bids, so that's the big question: how quick if that happens, that gets over the line, and if it does, what can they do? Because they've still got some FFP considerations to worry about.
There's literally only one guarantee in the Premier League, and that is that Spurs will not win it. That's it, or any other trophy. That's the only thing everyone can say for sure: is Spurs will not win the trophy.
The Spurs are not
anything
even the
else.
League.
You never know. You can get a Wigan winning an FA Cup. See, West Ham winning the Conference League, but we all know for a fact that Spurs will not win the trophy. That useless F1 football club.
The sun rises tomorrow. It will be a new day, and Tottenham will still be cleaning that empty.
I don't know why I'm not just putting money on it every year. Why not? So the odds are probably shocking, but
I was going to say that'd be so bad.
That's it over a decade. Which, to be fair, why not?
Well, that's true. A decade worth of no trophies.
A decade worth of no trophies.
A decade worth. And that's, I think, a perfect segue into the next game, which was a Super Sunday, and really was a sort of top 4 Super Sunday. So hence why we've left it to the back. But it was an absolute barnstormer, and was Tottenham in full flow, especially that 20 minutes.
Pure entertainment.
It can happen once that you have a terrible start. It can happen maybe twice that you have a terrible start. But I mean, there's 3 games in a row. They got away with it in the United one because they played really well in the second half. But that could have been out of hands. Newcastle battered the living life out of them a week ago. And then they turn up to Anfield with their hands in their pockets going, this will be all right. And they're 3-0 down after 15, 20 minutes. I mean, what is going on in the first half in Tottenham? What do you think?
I'm going to say something that might seem a bit crazy, but there's 2 parts. I can see why Ryan Mason potentially might get offered the job, because I think collectively they've actually they haven't played that bad. It's the defense, it's individual errors, and it's the defense. But like the midfield and the unit and how they pass to each other in the runs, like they've actually the scoreline isn't reflective of how they've played. It's defensively they're embarrassed. It's a championship defense. Like it might even be that. It's so bad that no matter what happens, you haven't got any cover midfield, and then there's no good players in that defense, not one. But so I can see why it would be funny if they gave Ryan Mason the job because he's not going to win them anything. But I can see why, because he'll get them playing together, but he's not experienced enough. But yeah, I mean, Liverpool are a joke as well. How do you go 3-0 up and then let them back into the game? Like, what are you doing? That's like
it was just double symptomatic of both of those teams' seasons, wasn't it? It was just kind of periods where they were, particularly in Liverpool's case, just particularly that first 20 minutes is like, we've all seen at Anfield. They did it to United early in the season. They just, and you go, this is the Liverpool that tear teams apart, and then just absolutely just stop playing. I think, Craig says it here in the chat, stop playing. It looked easy. Yeah. Newcastle played most of the game in first gear. And as soon as that first goal went in from Tottenham, I don't know, but I was thinking this might happen. I think potentially this could happen. The stadium got nervous. But Tottenham just defensively, Eric Dyer. It's supposed to be Marsh.
It's in the name, innit?
You can't have him in your team. Like how many years do you need to have this guy in your team to realize he's not good enough?
And every manager wants to play him, and he just, no one presses the ball over in the defense.
This is all Pep's doing again. I'm gonna tell you why he has done this, and this is all a trap. And I had a light bulb moment yesterday when I was watching them, and I was like, "This is Pep's master plan. He's come up with this." So what he's done is he's created this whole obsession with ball playing defenders that teams have dedicated the last decade to signing players like Eric Dyer who have no defensive awareness, but they're good on the ball. And then what does he go and do? He signs the best number 9 in the world and brings him to a league where there are no defenders.
There
are no defenders. They're all ball-playing defenders. And then what does he do on top of that? He sells 2 fullbacks who can't defend in Zinchenko and ships off Cancelo, and then starts playing 4 centre backs who can defend in his team. It's genius. You look at it, it's like, has he just planned this the whole time? He's gone, right, in 10 years, I'm going to sign the best striker in the league after I convince every other team to sign ball-playing defenders. This is his fault. This is his fault. There's no defenders left in this league.
He's a long-term evil genius. That's what
he
he is.
He's a Bond villain.
He's a Bond villain, but he waits 3-4 films to release his master
plan. Slow builder.
Yeah. Slow build, and then you go, oh, this is what he was planning all along.
He is literally Spectre.
Spectre.
Masterminded everything.
Spectre Pep. But it's not bad. I mean, the defenders that we have, I mean, in the Premier League at centre-back, there's very few that you look at and go, okay, we used to have Rolls Royces all over the place, didn't we? Top defender. We're going to be getting the conference for no-nonsense centre-back. Someone that can do the business. Mad. I mean, Simon says, most Championship defence aren't as bad as Tottenham's. I mean, that's probably fair. We've seen some good ones come up over the last few seasons that have done a really good job for some of the promoted teams.
Team had them. Like Van Dijk was at Southampton.
Yeah.
I can't even think of someone. Lewis Dunk, he's another one, the top defender, like just a traditional defender. Yeah. I can't even think of any off the top of my head, but yeah, most teams in the Prem had solid defenders.
At least
even
one.
Richard Dunn wasn't too bad for Man City, apart from when he came up against Henry.
yeah, most to be fair against Henry.
Ruined that guy's weekend time and time again.
Had a tough one. I mean, you look at cities, and then you've got Nathan Ake being another. He's there. So they snapped him up as another great centre back that can play as well. Gary Cahill retiring. There was players that was littered around. Those Dawson, of course, Ballon Dawson, not so much own goal this weekend, Charlotte.
I was going to say he got took off as well. I jinxed him.
Phil Jags, yeah. It's not great defending, is it, from their side? And Liverpool at the end, just to be absolutely all over the place, to let Tottenham back in. I mean, and when Richarlison scored, had to be Richarlison, didn't it? Giving it the big uns. And the fact he gave it the old pigeon dance as well. And then
they scored straight away.
Seconds later.
Didn't happen to a nicer bloke.
And just the look on his face and just the shock as Lucas Moura played Diogo Jota in. Oh,
honestly,
it made me laugh for Richarlison. Like how we were giving it for Biggenham. Wasn't that like his first goal this season, or was it his second? Is it first?
It was his first Premier League goal.
Premier League goal. I'm thinking, isn't that your job? Weren't you supposed to be doing that all season?
That's the thing.
And reason he signed you?
And despite the fact all year he's been kind of like pretending that he wasn't at Everton, suddenly remembers when he gets to Liverpool that the Everton fan comes out in him.
I know.
He's in for flop of the season, but. It's harsh with players like who are playing in teams that aren't doing well to kind of judge them. It's the same with like Chelsea's players. It's like Chelsea attackers is like, it's also like, it's not, it would be if Kane and Son were, well, Kane is, but Kane's a world-class footballer. But Son, look how bad Son's been this season. So you're kind of like, Kulusevski's not been great this season. And you kind of like, well, if Richarlison goes in there, what do you really expect him to do? But most football fans don't think that way. It's like, we've spent 60 million on you. We've got one Premier League goal, which, to be fair, I mean... If you're that good, it doesn't really matter if the rest of the team's playing shit. You still look at Kane.
Well, this is it. And you look at that, you still look at that front three, and when it's on it, I think at the start of the season, we looked at it and gone, Kulusevski, Kane and Son, that's as good as any in the Premier League. That's horrendous. But behind it is just an absolute bog trot.
Calamity,
It's calamity.
All over
it's an absolute mess. I mean, it was another game as well. There was potentially a red card either side that was missed by VAR. Both managers weren't happy. I mean, we've got to come to Jurgen Klopp as well with this reaction at the winner, which was just, I mean, first of all, I was thinking, what's he doing? And then his hamstring goes. I'm thinking, this is just fantastic. It's just gone absolutely hell for leather at the fourth official as his leg kind of collapses. I mean, that's just
comical.
A comical image.
And the whole game was comical.
I was going to say, we said it last time about something, but it was like a comedy sketch.
Yeah.
Honestly, it was like a comedy sketch, that whole game. Ridiculous. Yeah.
It was a comedy sketch, and they're just catching up on the sidelines with it, and unbelievable. And they sort of have the post-match interview with him, and then he went off about Paul Tierney, about how the referee's against him, so he took it out on the fourth official. But and he was also still talking about his leg at the same time, going, it might be a hamstring, could be an abductor injury. And I'm thinking, how long are you going to be out for, Jurgen? Madness.
Sat in a wheelchair next game on the sidelines.
Could you imagine? Yeah. Not available for away trips, but just an entertaining game. I mean, one thing you've got to say about Tottenham is they aren't half entertaining, are they? They don't half give us a story to talk about every week. There's no 0-0 and nothing, but there we go. And Chris says, Klopp, now on the physio table. And a fair point from Quaid. Tottenham would be worse than Chelsea without Kane and Son. Without Kane's goals. I mean, Kane's still in this ridiculous run. I think he's still scored in 4 or 5 away games on the trot. Yep. Considering Tottenham has struggled. He was brilliant in the second half against Man United the other day.
I think this year.
Best return. But he's playing into these very, very cagey. Have you noticed? There's a few questions. They're starting to pile the questions in. He's playing, I'm doing what I do now. I think even maybe he's starting to realise something needs to change.
Like, you can't. How can you, be scoring all those goals like consistently and just go, I'm going to stay here for my whole career? Like, what? I tell you, no one is going to care if he beats Shearer's record. No one's going to care.
It will be levied against him. I mean, the thing is, he could move. The thing is, he could move, and he's not guaranteed goals where he's potentially looking to move, which, Man United look to be one of the potentials. And they're not guaranteed. As a United fan, I'm not looking at guaranteed trophies over the next few years. There's challenges from all comers. But he's got a shot. He's got a shot.
Yeah.
There's nothing happening with Spurs, particularly now. Champions League's looking like that ain't happening for them next season. Son's gone off the ball big time, so they've got a decision to make on him as well, haven't they? They've got a whole new defence, as you said. They don't know what they're doing. Manager situation.
And they've got Eric Dyer.
They've got Eric Dyer. Levy's a basket case.
Yeah.
It's a dreamer. And no, not goal news, but we've had some injury news coming in from Leicester, Everton. Coleman's got stretchered off, which is huge for Everton, not just for today, but for the rest of the season.
Patterson.
Skipper. So
that's also that age. He's what, 35, 36?
He's must be around there.
Stretcher's injury at that age. That might be it. At least at Everton.
That could be good night.
34.
Not good for Everton. And we'll just catch the last couple of games before we move on to the EFL, because there's a lot that happened there with promotion relegations. The last two were Brighton 6, Wolves 0. Absolute pummeling. And some of the goals were just out of nowhere. And they didn't even play some of the... Matoma was on the bench. I think Solly March
was on the bench, and Solly March was on the bench.
Did McAllister even play? They just...
that was it. McAllister, Matoma and Solly March were benched. And they won 6-0.
And they suddenly bring out Dennis Undav, who hasn't scored all season, chipping the goalkeeper. Unbelievable. Danny Welbeck on fire. They've been the best. Like,
they've been... it's a weird one. They've been the best story, I'd say, this year. Next to maybe Newcastle. But they've just played better football than Newcastle. The football's been so good from Brighton. It's just no one expected it. Like, Brighton has just been the most fun overall, I'd say. Would have been nice if we won the league, but yeah.
Bearing in mind as well, they lost obviously Graham Potter and got a new manager, and he just seems to have done wonders with them.
Yeah, he does. He's gone crazy, and I think I saw a stat they haven't had a sending off either, but he's had 3, hasn't he? The manager's had 3, but the team's had none. They're just fun to watch. So some of the goals they scored at the weekend were brilliant. The interchanges, considering some of those players don't play every week either, absolutely sensational. Huge news! Penalty to Leicester.
Oh, it's done.
It's not Jamie Vardy time again, is it?
We're going to get a Vardy hat-trick today.
It could well be a Vardy's rolling back the years there. So.
2-1.
James Maddison stepping up.
Taker. He's a penalty saver.
Pickford can save a pen. I've not got it on live because I'm doing this professionally, so I've got these dedicated ears. So we're relying on the chat to let us know how this penalty goes. He's missed it.
2-1.
Oh, you can't do that. 2-1 still on.
Oh dear. just drug in here. Rusty's joined us in the chat. Crab, I'm going to the parade dribble. Oh dear.
I meant Charles' coronation.
The big one. Oh dear. So Brighton Wolves 6-0, and the other one, Manchester United beat Aston Villa in a key one for the Champions League as well. So Villa had been unbeaten in 10, so that was a good 3 points from a Manchester United perspective. Bruno Fernandes scoring as he always seems to do against Aston Villa. I've been a little bit concerned looking at the gap with the Champions League with how United have been playing recently. It's been a bit sketchy, so it'd be good to get your guys' opinions on. Are you thinking United are almost there with Champions League? Liverpool are the ones that worry me a bit, but apart from the points seem to be pretty in our favour.
Liverpool putting the pressure on, but they're not. The way they play against Spurs is like they go away from home, they're gonna lose or draw some games.
There's not that many games left for the gap as well.
Yeah, you destroyed Villa in that first 20 minutes. Like Rashford had 2 sitters.
Oh, he did.
Yeah. That's why you don't play him striker. People who watch football have been saying it for years. Just because he scores goals from the wing does not mean you suddenly put him striker, because that happens. Yeah. He is not a consistent goal scorer. He needs to have, he needs to play from the wing where he's effective. He has more time, more space, and he usually has to deal with one player. But when he's leading the line, it's too much. Yeah. He's not a striker. But Villa are good, but you smashed them to start off with. I think it's done. I don't think you're going to drop it at this point.
I think so. I think there's Brighton coming up. There's 1 or 2 trickier ones on the horizon, but you think now the FA Cup's kind of done and dusted. There's no European game in between, so they can play the team. People come back from injury as well. Garnacho's about to come back in, so they've got a few more options going forward. Eriksen's now kind of up to speed. Casemiro's back in, so it's all the case. And Old Trafford, they have been very good at this season. So home games. Yeah.
You've also sent Maguire home for the rest of the season. So
we've discovered that Luke Shaw and Lindelof is a better option.
Any other combination.
Any other combination was better. That's the one that we've got.
Finally, Ten Hag's realised. It only took him 7-8 months to realise Harry Maguire is awful.
He's off the case. And 2 clean sheets in a row, I think. Rush will give you 10 gift shoves if you win another game.
We're winning tomorrow. I'm not having it. We are not dropping points against Francis Lampard. It's not happening. Okay. It cannot happen. That cannot happen.
We shall see. We shall see what Lampard's up to tonight to work that one out. But I think that's Premier League. That's Premier League done and dusted. We will bring up the table if I can find the right buttons to show you, so we can just see where we're at. Obviously, with other things going on.
Just seeing Chris called Martial a suck note.
A suck note. They've only got Martial. Big horse, the problem is number 9s. We do love you all in the chat. It makes our day. It really does to have you all jumping in with us. And here we are, back to the Premier League table. And as we said there at the bottom, we'll focus again back to the bottom quickly and just how tight it kind of still is. So I think, as we said, West Ham maybe need another one, but then Leeds and down, it's pretty tight. As a moment, as Leicester are winning 2-1, that would jump them up to 16th. Nottingham Forest drop in and Leeds down to 17th. So it could be a big one if it stays as it is. But not just the Premier League this weekend, Shah. Massive EFL. It's promotions, relegations, everything's going on, including games today. I've managed to get the latest updated table because it finished about 25 minutes before we went on recording. So tell us about what's been going on in the Championship.
Yes, so we all know Burnley have obviously got promoted. They're on 98 points in first position and they're champions. They had a 2-1 win against Bristol City, so another great win for Vincent Kompany's men. And I'm looking forward to seeing them in the Premier League next season.
Really looking forward to seeing it. He's got some good contacts as well and done some very good signings that they picked in. What they can do with some of the loans, can they turn some of the loans in? Be interesting, but they're playing a brand of football that's interesting to come up, isn't it? So
I was going to say, it's not the kind of football that we expect, is it, with Burnley as well?
No, I think because as we spoke to Dan on the All About Burnley podcast from Turf Moorhouse podcast, which you can still catch on the channel, and he was talking us through and said, I think he was as surprised as anybody watching passing football. Why they're not lumping it long? I think.
I know, hoofball. We're used to the Sean Dyche hoofball, aren't we? But I'm really happy for Burnley. Done really well, and obviously come straight back up, which is amazing to see, especially after they've changed the manager as well. So. Second place, we've got Sheffield United on 88 points. They won 4-1 at home to Preston. So they're the two who were going up pretty much confirmed.
Yeah, they're done. So, I mean, Sheffield United, I was reading today, have had a lot of financial issues off the pitch, haven't they? There's been a lot of stuff going on this season. They had an embargo, which I think has just been, they've just agreed, I think, something to do with Ryan Brewster's installments, I think, the transfer installments.
It was really mental because we've actually got a keeper on loan from Sheffield United, and one of our young midfielders, Ethan Briley, this was during the season, and I don't get it because we were in a relegation battle. Obviously, the worst has happened, but he went on trial for Sheffield United whilst they're under an embargo. Obviously, they can't buy him. But he went on trial during like the most crucial point of the season, and I just didn't get it. Mad, isn't it?
It is. Whether they'd got wind, it was going to be reinstated, dodgy.
Yeah,
dealings.
that was a mad one. And then obviously Luton, they played today. They had a 1-1 draw this evening against Blackburn, who are now 2 points off the playoffs. They've drifted off a little bit, Blackburn, but Luton are in third on 79 points. Middlesbrough are in fourth position, and they lost again. They're going on a real bad run, Middlesbrough, at the minute. I don't know what's going on with them. They're on 74 points, and they had a 1-0 loss away at Rotherham this afternoon. So, yeah, they've just gone through a bit of a blip at the minute, Michael Carrick's men, and they were right up there at one point, weren't they? They were really challenging for it, but they just seem to have drifted off.
I wonder whether some of that's it's the playoff syndrome, isn't it? A bit, do they confirm their playoff spot? They can't get promoted, and then everything's about that playoff. But you need to the teams that tend to go up have a bit of a run, don't they, going into the playoffs? So you'd be a little bit worried. They need to pick things out, particularly how well teams like Luton and Coventry are playing at the moment. Yeah,
exactly. And even though obviously it's confirmed with the playoffs and stuff, you still want to like kind of go out on a positive, don't you? And kind of. But I don't know if they're resting players maybe for the playoffs. Who knows? In fifth place, I'm so happy about this because I say it every time, but I have got a massive soft spot for Coventry. To say how bad they were doing at the beginning of the season and how they've turned it around after Christmas. They're in the playoff place, the fifth one. They're on 69 points and they won 2-0 at home to Birmingham. So that's a fantastic win for them. And the last playoff spot, we have Millwall on 68 points. They beat Blackpool 3-2 and unfortunately relegated Blackpool. Not good. 2 northern teams officially relegated from the Championship. It's not good, is it?
It's that time of the season, isn't it? That team's
it's sad
dreams die.
I know. But just on the playoffs as well, it is very close because 3 teams can still get the last playoff spots. There's Sunderland, who's on 68 points. West Brom and Blackburn are both on 66 points, so they can still get it. So it is very close.
It's going to be a great final day, isn't it, for those playoff spots? Next Monday, I think, isn't it?
Due to the King's coronation.
Yeah. So Lucas will miss that because he's on his celebratory parade. But...
Oh, yeah. Oh, I've gone. And relegation. Unfortunately, Wigan have officially been relegated. They're in the last spot, 24th place on 41 points. They did manage to get a 1-1 draw though against Reading. Blackpool, as we said, relegated. It was confirmed on Friday night after their loss to Millwall. Reading, they're in the relegation position on 44 points. They got the 1-1 draw against Wigan. Huddersfield are just above them on 47 points, but they do have a game in hand. That's a problem. So I think it's Reading going down with them.
It's pretty much done, isn't it? Yeah. That's going to take a lot going the right way. Yeah, relegation's almost set, I think, isn't it?
I think so. But then again, I tend to get my predictions wrong. So who knows?
Things can change. And so Craig's just jumped in the chat, say Blackburn is at Millwall 12:30 Monday. So that's an absolute playoff. That's a crucial one there. Very interesting. And Huddersfield's last 2 games, Sheffield United, see what sort of form they're
in.
and Reading. So it could go, if Sheffield United get the job done against Huddersfield, it will be Huddersfield versus Reading for a shootout. Although what's the goal difference there? The goal difference is a big swing, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's
surely not another like northern team as well.
I think it could well. I think Reading are in trouble.
Yeah, I think Reading. Who knows, though? Who knows?
7-0 turnaround. Who knows?
Yeah, that's pretty much it from the Championship.
That's the Championship. And over to League One, which is why I've got my Green Army shirt on today.
I know.
My university team have got the job done. They're coming home. They're coming back to the Championship. Look at all those greens.
Both them and Ipswich have officially been promoted. So Plymouth are at the top on 98 points after their 1-0 win at home to Burton. Ipswich, I wasn't expecting this at all. They've really hit some form like towards the end of the season. They were third for quite a while, weren't they, in that first playoff spot, but they've really hit form at the right time.
It's Kieran McKenna. It's these Solskjaer numpties that we had in Carrick and McKenna have just turned into absolute wonder stars.
I know. It's mental. They had a brilliant 6-0 win against Exeter. So, yeah, they got promoted in style. But, yeah, it's not been decided yet who are the champions because, obviously, it's going to go down to the final game. But it's fantastic from both of them teams. I'm really happy for their fans. Big clubs as well, so it'd be really nice to see them in the Championship.
It will be. It'd be great for them. And say Sheffield Wednesday were up there for so long, weren't they? They were up there for so long. I mean, their form's not bad there, but they had a real drop off, didn't they? I think around March time.
Yeah, they've really gone on. They really went on a bad run, but I think Ipswich as well obviously hit form at the right time. I think they kind of had a swat, didn't they? Because I remember a few weeks ago, it was consistently first place Plymouth, and then it would go to Sheffield Wednesday the next week, and it was a constant rotation of them. But yeah, they are in the playoffs though on 93 points, so they have actually secured a spot, which is great. They had a 3-0 win against Shrewsbury. Barnsley have secured a playoff spot as well after their 4-4 draw against strugglers MK Dons. They're on 86 points.
Double Desi, yeah.
I know. Again, Bolton have secured a spot. They're on 78 points after their 2-0 win at Fleetwood. Derby, though, were in I can't speak. Derby are in 6th position. They've not yet secured a playoff spot, though, even though they are there. But depending on Peterborough's results and their result, obviously, it could change. Peterborough are only 2 points adrift from them, and Derby did manage a 1-1 draw against Portsmouth, and Peterborough are just below them on 74 points. They had a 0-0 draw against Joey Barton's Bristol Rovers. Relegation, not much change. Not much change at all. At the bottom, we've obviously got Forest Green. They were relegated a couple of weeks ago. Still not managed to get any more points, bless them. Still the 27 points. They lost 3-0 against Oxford. Just above them, we've got Accrington on 41 points. They lost 2-1 at home to Cambridge. Cambridge obviously have gone above them, and they've got a game in hand, so they could possibly get out of a relegation. Who knows? It is looking likely for them if they do win the game, so that is the problem. They beat Accrington 2-1. Morecambe are obviously just above them in relegation on 44 points. They won 3-2 at home to Lincoln. And just above the relegation zone, we have MK Dons after their double Desi draw against Barnsley on 44 points, so the same points as Morecambe, but they're just above them on goal difference.
They let that slip as well, didn't they? It was 4-1. I blooming had them in my coupon. Couldn't believe it.
And just above them, in 19th spot, we've got Oxford on 47 points. They won 3-0. So, yeah, it's still a bit interesting in the relegation zone because any of the teams, obviously Forest Green can't, but any of the other teams can potentially get out of it depending on our results. So very interesting and still not confirmed. Only Forest Green confirmed to be relegated to League Two. So very interesting.
A final day battle in League One then to stay in the division and to League Two.
Yes. So Leyton Orient, despite them being crowned champions last week, They got beat 3-0 at home to Stockport County. So I think they've still been getting over the celebrations a week before because they got absolutely hammered.
That's a typical post title win result, isn't it?
But it doesn't matter because they're going to League One. And another team that's going to League One, and I'm so happy because I thought I did jinx them a while back because I had certain that they were going to get promoted, and I did think they were going to be crowned champions of League Two. But Stevenage promoted. It has been confirmed after their 2-0 win at home to Grimsby. So I'm really happy for Stevenage. I know a lot of Stevenage fans as well, and yeah, I'm absolutely made up because they've been through some difficult times as well. So it's nice to see a club that's gone through that, obviously getting the recognition and going places.
To League One for Stevenage, yeah. So they were in that battle for a while, dropped off, and yeah, a good couple of results at the end to get the job done.
Yeah,
so
they've kind of
Stevenage.
Yeah, their form's kind of picked up a little bit because, like I said, I said them dreaded words, and then they were going off a little bit, and then they seem to have hit form at the right time. So Steve Evans has done a great job there. Great job. Northampton, I do not know what's happening to Northampton because I thought they would have been confirmed, and I actually thought they would get second place instead of Stevenage, but they've seemed to really dropped off recently. They're in third place on 80 points. They lost 2-1 against Bradford, but there's a lot of teams, obviously, in the playoffs that could creep up and nick the automatic, spot. So, yeah, I don't know what's going on with Northampton at the minute. But in the playoffs, we've got Stockport County, 78 points after their 3-0 win against Orient. Then we've got Carlisle on 75 points. They lost 3-2 at home to Salford. Just below them, Salford again, 75 points. And then Bradford are on 75 points as well. But they do have a game in hand. They do have a game in hand. I'm gonna throw a bit of a spanner in the works. I think Bradford could get that last automatic promotion. I just think at the minute, I just see them on a good run, and I think they are very strong. And I think towards the end of the season, they are like hitting that form. And with the game in hand, I honestly think, because Northampton have obviously been struggling recently, I think Bradford could potentially get that last spot.
That would be some jump, wouldn't it, from seventh up to third with that. But if they win that game in hand, they jump up to fourth, don't they?
It's against Crewe as well, and I don't mean to be awful or anything, but even we got a result against Crewe. That says something. But I think Crewe have not really, they've got nothing to play for either, so I think they might be in holiday mode. So who knows? They might even come and spoil the Bradford party. So who knows? Honestly, I think we will get third.
Could be done. Could be done if they get those games in. Could be done as long as it's not Stockport for Chris. He's happy.
And Mansfield are obviously just outside of the playoffs by 3 points. So they actually need Salford to lose, but they need... 1 minute, I've actually got mixed up on my notes that I've wrote. So yeah, they need Salford to lose, but they need Salford to concede quite a few goals. But then for Mansfield to get in the playoffs, they need to obviously score more goals. Kind of it has to go off goal difference for them to
switch around.
Yeah, so they're not technically out of it, but I think it'd be quite a long.
And they've lost the last two on the trot, haven't they, Mansfield? It's asking a lot.
They lost 2-1 to Harrogate as well. And yeah, Harrogate have picked up form recently. So they have... Yeah, they shouldn't be losing. They shouldn't be losing to teams like that. The only thing I can kind of defend them for is Harrogate have picked up some form recently. But yeah, you never know. You never know. And then in relegation, obviously, it was confirmed last week that we've been relegated, but we did manage to win 4-1 against Sutton. Great win for Dale. I think the pressure's obviously off now. It was the last home game in the AFL for a while, so we went out with a bang. it is nice to see them win, but it is frustrating because why couldn't we perform like that, like during the other games?
Yeah, like a month ago or so, you'd be thinking,
exactly. But at the same time, since Jim McNulty's obviously been interim manager, we have picked up some results, and I honestly thought it was over a real long time ago and we wouldn't pick up the points that we have. So despite us getting relegated, I didn't think we would pick up as many points as we have, under him. So yeah, it's what it is, isn't it? It's what it is.
It's what it is.
But unfortunately, Hartlepool have been relegated with us as well. It's so bad to see. They actually won 3-1 against Barrow, but relegation was confirmed because Crawley only needed to get a point for them, obviously, to be relegated, Hartlepool, and they did manage to get the draw. So unfortunately, Hartlepool will be joining us next season, Jeff Stelling's men.
They will, in the National League, which you can join, as will be covered on the Absolute Football Podcast next season as our new league. We will indeed. We'll see Hartlepool and Rochdale do battle again next season. Well, thank you for that, Sean. Next week we should have the final results coming in, just as I think they're 3:00 kickoffs. Most of them, some of them are 12 o'clock. So I think depending on the league, so we will know what the final standings.
It's all really that last automatic spot, isn't it, from League Two, and obviously the playoffs, because relegation's been confirmed, so we don't need to know about that.
Don't need to worry about that.
You don't need to talk about that.
That's been dealt with. We don't need to worry about that. But no, that's all the EFL leagues. That's great. And we're going to now take a little fly around Europe to find out what's going on in the big European leagues. And we start, of course, with La Liga, over to Spain, the usual candidates up top. But it's back to business as usual, because there's 2 losses for both of them in midweek. They both lost their games in midweek, Barcelona and Real Madrid. So back to normal service resumed. Barcelona stuffed 10-man Real Betis 4-0. Robert Lewandowski's 29th of the season involved in that as well. And Real Madrid scored 4 themselves as they beat Almeria 4-2 with a hat-trick for Karim Benzema, who's hopefully warming up for Manchester City. That's what we want. That's the big game, because they're not going to win anything here. Barcelona have got it pretty much wrapped up. But funnily enough, Atletico have snapped the gap a little bit on Real Madrid, so they're only 2 points behind them now. They scored 5 as well. 5 away at, where did they score 5 away? At Real Valladolid, with Sociedad and Villarreal fighting out for the last 2 Champions League places. Heading to the bottom of the table, Elche won. I repeat, Josh, Elche won a game. It's a little bit too late because they've only got 15 points, but they did. They won 4-0 as well. It was an absolute Spanish sensation. They defeated Real Vallecano 4-0. They may have had 10 men on the opposing side for 65 minutes, but you can only beat what's in front of you. That's the old adage. So Elche got themselves 3 points. And also, as we've been keeping an eye on in that relegation zone, Valencia looked like they'd got themselves out of trouble. They've been dragged back in again. They lost 2-1 to Cadiz, as Espanyol won 1-0 at the weekend to close the gap. So Valencia are really, really, really tight in terms of getting there. And Chris says, Real can still win the Copa del Rey. I don't care about the Copa del Rey. I care about somebody stopping Manchester City. Give the Copa del Rey to whoever you like. It's all a warm-up act for that game there. So, we still see there's still a few games to go yet in La Liga. So Valencia and the relegation zone could be sort of sorted out, but Barcelona are as good as there. So we'll move over now to Italy. Lucas, you want to give us through Italy? We thought we were going to have a champion celebration today, but not quite.
Another draw. It was draws all weekend, but I think it's done. It's only a matter of time, isn't it, before they're officially the champions? But they're not going to throw away at this point, even though they looked a bit shaky recently. They got enough points on the board. It's really about who makes up the remaining spots for Champions League in Serie A. With Juve drawing, Milan and Roma drew. Inter were the only one who picked up points on the weekend. I think Atalanta are not really in it anymore. Lazio, they were on hot form, and then they've kind of just fallen off again. So I wasn't too convinced by Lazio. Juve getting their 15 points back is hilarious. But I really wanted Mourinho to do it. But Roma, Milan was the big highlight of the weekend, with Milan scoring in the 97th minute to equalize. That's not great. Mourinho would not be happy about that. But there's still hope. I mean, it's really tough to call this. I think Juve just as a whole have enough to get themselves in that top 4. Lazio and Inter, I don't know. Lazio, Inter Milan, Roma, I don't know. I think, honestly, I just think even with Juve's form, I think Juve will do it. But the others, I'm not sure.
The form's
Inter
horrendous.
Milan obviously got Champions League too.
Well, that's it. They've got 2 massive games in that, which does one or
Roma,
2 things.
Roma in the Europa League as well. So, sorry, Juve in the bloody hell. All 4 of them are in the. All 5 of that top 6 are still in European competitions.
That's crazy.
So yeah, anyone says Serie A is a shit league. There you go.
Shit league.
2 in the Champions League semi-final, 2 in the Europa League semi-final, and what? Oh God, Fiorentina are in the Conference League semi-final as well.
Italy are having an absolute European.
Got 7 teams in the semi-finals.
Absolute European, and we've got breaking absolute relegation news. It's a Desmond. It's currently a Desmond.
Oh.
Alex Iwobi.
Iwobi.
It's all level. Yeah. It's going off. It could yet be a double Desi. How long we got? 20, 25 minutes? 2-2. Alex Iwobi leveled things up for Everton. All to play for. But back to Italy. Yeah, Fiorentina involved as well. There's so many. They've done so well in Europe this season. Yeah. So well in Europe. I mean, there was 3 sides in that section of the Champions League draw. So had Napoli had a nicer draw, they might have been sorted well if they'd have continued their form. Let's be honest, and they'd have been through. I would have thought that they messed things up a little bit, didn't they, in that Champions League? It's a shame for them.
That's going to be a good semi-final, and it's the last game at San Siro.
It's a nice send-off for the San Siro, isn't it, to have those there? I mean, I can't see either of them doing anything in the final, if I'm honest. But stranger things have happened.
Not against Madrid, but Milan. City.
Yeah.
Even if City beat Madrid, I just think it's the final, and you're playing. I think Inter.
It's Zlatan still at Milan, isn't he?
Yeah, he is.
Zlatan or Lukaku. They're my backups. my post ends and my backups.
I honestly think Inter get pummeled in that final. Milan, on the other hand, that could be. They're awful, but it's just football heritage. Champions League royalty. They're Champions League royalty.
They are Champions League royalty. I'm trying to think if there's any other legendary Milan players that are sat there that could do something. Giroud. Oh, it's his time. It's his time. Yeah, Giroud. Build the statue now.
They can do season damage, I think, Milan, more so than Inter. But City, I mean, if you beat Madrid, you kind of have to win it.
Yeah, you do. Yeah, we all see that as the fault. But then we all thought Napoli would roll them over, didn't we? And that didn't happen. That didn't happen. But City are different animal entirely. So we will see. But Italy continues to still be an interesting league, as does the Bundesliga. The Bundesliga. We had a flip around last week because Dortmund had hit the heights at top, but they got knocked back off top perch this weekend. They drew with a Bochum 1-1, but there was a lot of unhappy decision making. I think there's some questionable decisions. There was a referee even questioning his own questionable decisions after the full-time whistle. So a draw for Dortmund meant that Bayern returned to the top as they beat Hertha Berlin 2-0, thanks to Serge Gnabry and Kingsley Coman goals. Union Berlin were unable to kind of hold on there. They were at home to Inform Bayer Leverkusen and picked up a draw. So they are just off of the top spots, but still in Champions League, as Freiburg joined them on 56 points when beating Cologne at 1-0. So it's looking like those 4, but Leipzig picked up a victory too to kind of put them in the mix for the Champions League spots. At the bottom side of things, Schalke have risen from the dead a little bit. They looked like well and dead and buried a few weeks ago. They've had a few wins in their last few games, and they had a dramatic turnaround this weekend. They were losing to Werder Bremen and scored 2 goals in the last 10 minutes, including 1 in injury time to get them an important 3 points, putting them just behind Bochum, but catching up those sides just above them. As Stuttgart did the same thing against Mönchengladbach, 2-1 just to keep themselves afloat. So relegation in the Bundesliga is looking pretty tasty and pretty interesting. The top Bayern now seem to have got the steer at top, but they're still a bit shaky. Can Tuchel bring it home? We will see. And finally, I've included this week.
Yeah, because they're about to throw away, hopefully.
Because they lost. They lost, and the gap is now 5 points to Marseille. So they've earned themselves a place back on the table by making things interesting with a few games to go. A bonkers game. So they lost 3-1 to Lorient. Achraf Hakimi was sent off after 20 minutes, I think. Two bookable offences. Hakimi went off, and Lorient got the better of them. But it did also include. Did you see the bizarre goal from Mbappe as well? How bonkers was that? So
that was weird.
So Mbappe went down wanting a penalty. It was kind of given as a dive, but it was waved away, I think, more than anything else, the penalty. So the goalkeeper's picked it up and I think thrown it down as if it's a free kick right in front of Mbappe. He just went, thanks very much, tapped it in. Bizarre goal, but ultimately didn't make a difference because Lorient won 3-1. Marseille did the business with a 2-1 victory, having been 1-0 down to Angers, and Lyon in third play tomorrow. So it's not dead and buried. It's not over. PSG are stuttering towards, and they've lost 6 games this season, which you compare to top sides in other leagues.
Aye.
And let's be honest, the French league in terms of the competition is not at the level of some of the other leagues that we're talking about for some of the top sides. So PSG are, I don't know what you feel about that project. I think it's at the beginning of coming to an end, the PSG project with the owners. Do you think that they think that eventually this is going to happen, or
they have to just scrap everything and get rid? I don't know if they do it with Mbappe, Nate. Those profiles of players, if they do what's necessary.
Yeah, I can't see them changing the model enough to do what is going to be required to get them to where they want to be. So one to keep an eye on for the future. And that is it. That is all the tables that we've got. That's all the football that we've got, I think, for now. We've been giving you live updates. It's currently 2, Leicester 2, Everton 2. We'll see how that ends afterwards. But for me, nothing else to add. Great to speak with you guys and have a catch up on the football. Lots going on. Great bank holiday weekend. But before we sign off, Charlotte, where can people find you?
Yes, I'm most active on Twitter, Instagram, and TikTok. I'm SharexRAFC. You can keep up to date with all my Rochdale stuff on that platform, on all them platforms. I can't speak. On all those platforms as well. It's Rochdale HDT. And just a bit of news, just with her game too as well. We actually partnered with Liverpool, which is absolutely massive and such a great achievement. So I just wanted to put that out. And if you're not following the campaign, they're on all socials. They're just her game too. So if you can, please give them all a follow because there's some amazing stuff going on and just the work that everyone puts into it. It's all voluntary as well, and alongside family life, alongside like work, just things in general. So please, please, please support that campaign because it's just getting bigger and bigger and it's so nice to see.
Yeah, so it's huge news, isn't it, Bergen, to get the Liverpool connection? Massive. That's massive. So great to see it's getting the recognition that it so very much deserves. So go and follow Shah and all her game too on all their socials. And of course, where can you see if you want some more Lucas? Where can we catch more Lucas?
Crab Dribble on Twitch, TikTok, and Twitter. And I'll be doing a watch along tomorrow to make sure no funny business. That's what I'm doing. Watch along tomorrow just to ensure. Yeah, if Frank Lampard does not get his first win in 7 games.
It is indeed. Crab Dribble Talk to Frank is on tomorrow at 8 o'clock.
No funny business, Arsenal.
No funny business. No funny business. And so if you want to catch myself, I'm on Twitter, I'm on TikTok, on my website, www.upthefmducks.com. So I'm at upthefmducks on pretty much most of the socials. So catch me on there. And of course, where can you catch the Absolute Football Podcast? Well, you can catch it here. On Twitter at Absolute Ball Pod, on TikTok at Absolute Football Pod, and Instagram Absolute Football Podcast _ because we don't like to make it easy for you. You have to search for it and find it. But thank you everybody for joining us. We've got some really fun episodes coming up soon in terms of the All About series we've done. We've got a really fun interview we're recording this week, hopefully out Thursday, with Darren Ryan, who is the head of youth development for Wolverhampton Wanderers, is talking to me, Charlotte, and Josh tomorrow. So we're hoping we can bring that for you for Thursday. Got some real interesting things to talk to him about live and in a sort of a real footballing circumstance at the minute with Wolves and their youth players. So really excited to talk to him. And we had a fantastic episode with Heather the other day that will be out for you next Thursday too. So keep tuned. Lots of plenty coming up. But for now, enjoy the rest of what is left of your bank holiday weekend. Have a great time, and we will catch you on the flip side. See you soon.